Besides establishing how senators and members of the House are elected and whom they represent, the authors of the Constitution determined what powers the legislative branch has. The Constitution gave Congress the power to regulate trade and commerce with other countries. It gave Congress the power to raise and support an army and navy and to declare war. It also gave Congress the power to establish a post office. There are some powers in the Constitution that were granted to the House of Representatives alone. Only the House can write laws that determine how to raise money through taxes. While it is not a power that is explicitly granted in the Constitution, only the House of Representatives has the power to originate bills that authorize or appropriate the money that the federal government needs to operate its programs. For example, the House must appropriate money to build new highways, or to build and launch space probes to explore other planets. The Senate, too, has some powers that belong to it alone. The Senate has the power to approve or reject treaties that the President has made with other countries. For example, in 1987, President Ronald Reagan signed a treaty with Mikhail Gorbachev of what was then the Soviet Union to limit nuclear weapons in Europe. But before this treaty could go into effect, it had to be ratified or approved by the Senate. The Senate also has the power to confirm and reject presidential appointments to important posts in the executive branch. For instance, after George W. Bush was elected in 2000, he appointed Colin Powell to be Secretary of State of the United States. But before Powell could have the job, he first had to be questioned by a special Senate committee and then approved by the whole Senate. The Constitution gives still other powers to both the House and the Senate. One clause in the Constitution states that Congress has the power to make all laws that shall be necessary and proper. This clause is often called the Elastic Clause because it gives Congress the power to write laws on many different things that are not specifically mentioned in the Constitution. In the 1970s and 80s, for example, Congress passed a series of environmental laws designed to protect the quality of our air and water. Among other things, these laws restricted the amount of poisonous chemicals that factories could release into rivers, lakes, and oceans, and harmful gases that power plants and factories could release into the atmosphere. Nothing in the Constitution specifically gave Congress this power. However, the Constitution does say that one purpose of the federal government is to promote the general welfare of the American people. Supporters of environmental laws could argue that these laws were necessary and proper to promote our general welfare by helping make our environment cleaner and safer. Over the years, Congress has passed thousands of laws never specifically imagined by the people who wrote the Constitution. These laws affect many aspects of our lives. There are federal laws that make sure our food is safe to eat. There are laws that provide help to schools in order to support education. There are laws to make airplanes and other forms of transportation